Hey, record loving friends, this is Brian from Tokyo Record Style. Today is a special day for me because I got a new record in the mail, a record that I'm very excited about from my favorite band, maybe yours, maybe not, the band Phish. Phish just released their 16th studio album. It's called Evolve, their first release in 4 years now. Phish is not really an album band. They're really a live band, if you know them. And they're not particularly famous for their albums, and their early albums are, well, beloved by me and beloved by their fans, but they're quoted as saying they wish they could go back and kind of redo them. Phish's discography is varied, and everyone has a special, unique characteristic, and some people have their favorites. My buddies and I have been counting them down on a little podcast we have called The Dog Log, which we've made a little primer video to. You can check it out in my YouTube videos. But today I am very excited because this album came out about 2 weeks ago maybe, and we have been waiting for it in Japan. And I didn't pull the trigger from buying the records from Phish's outlet Dry Goods because they put out 3 or so variants, maybe 4 including a black one, and the one that I really liked was the general one that was meant to go out to the non-indie record stores, basically the Amazon. So I actually bought it from a major outlet because that was the variant that I wanted. So I'm very happy to unbox their new record, Evolve. This is really exciting. Really cool cover, a departure from their last cover, which was just a shot of them and not a particularly fantastic album cover, I thought. This was their last cover, the first time I think the band has ever actually been featured on the cover. This one's called Sigma Oasis. This was released in, I think, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And this is them standing on the balcony of their famous recording studio, The Barn in Vermont. So Sigma Oasis was the last release we got in 2020. And finally, 2 weeks ago, we got this, and it just arrived to my house, Evolve. So the cover here is by a Spanish artist. His name is Mehdi Gadyanlin. If I got that right. So the hype sticker on here says, new studio album from Phish featuring Evolve, Oblivion, and Pillow Jets. Exclusive track, The Well, available on vinyl only. 2 LP prismatic velvet tones colored pressing. So I've already heard the album on streaming, and also, as Phish sort of characteristically does, we knew of these songs like over a year ago, many of them. They've been playing them live for a long time, and I'm on Couch Tour, we call it, where we subscribe to their live shows, which get simulcasted, and my Phish-loving pals get online and we watch the shows together. So we know most of the songs, although there were a couple of debuts that we hadn't heard before this record came out. One of them is called Human Nature, and another one is called Valdez. We didn't know Valdez. I think maybe we had heard it in a Trey band concert, or maybe we had heard them at one point, but I think basically we knew a lot of the songs, but really like the cover. It's very sort of hypnosis, you know, it's really psychedelic. And I think they had the Hypnosis guys on a previous release. Slip, Stitch, and Pass was a live record from, I think, 97. And this was I believe this was those guys who the Hypnosis guys, and they really wanted to, and it's this guy pulling this giant ball of yarn on the beach. And this is an actual ball of yarn. Apparently it's only a half of a ball. The opposite side of it is not actually there to save costs, but it is an actual giant ball of purple yarn that is getting pulled across this beach. It's a great double live album from 97 tour, I think, in Europe. Okay, let's do this. Let's go for it. I'm a little nervous because it was left outside on the porch for a couple hours, and it's blazing hot in Tokyo right now. And it's a gatefold. It's 2 LPs, and here's the front cover. Here's the back cover. It's got the song list, about 3 or 4 songs on each of the 4 sides. We've got Hey Stranger, Oblivion, Evolve on side 1, A Wave of Hope, Pillow Jets, and Lonely Trip on side 2, Life Saving Gun, which is a really cool song, one of my favorites, Monsters, Ether Edge, and Human Nature on side C, and Valdez, The Well, and Mercy on side 4. So I could leave the shrink wrap on, but it's a gatefold, so I actually want to see the inside, so I'm going to just go ahead and cut it out. I'm going to keep the hype sticker. I actually usually put the hype stickers on the inner jackets. Okay, this is interesting. Wow, I've never actually seen them do this before. This is interesting. Check this out. Well, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Check this out. This is the gatefold. I haven't even opened it. Where you put the records, there are no records. They've actually put them inside the gatefold, the 2 LPs. Isn't that interesting? Hype sticker off. Let's check out the gatefold. Whoa, that's really cool. Again, this is Mehdi Gadyanlu, Spanish artist. Mehdi Gadyanlu. Wow, pretty psychedelic. And here is the wax. Whoa, wow. Wow, that's really wild. Side A, Hey Stranger, Oblivion, Evolve. Wow, really nice colored wax. Side B, A Wave of Hope, Pillow Jets, Lonely Trip. Wow, really nice. And this is produced by Vance Powell and Bryce Goggin, who have done the last few records, who are very accomplished sound engineers and producers. Wow, this one's really nuts. Wow, check out this one. It's pretty psychedelic. This is why I wanted this version of it. I'm a little bit surprised. Phish think the ones that they sell on dry goods are the ones that everybody wants. And the ones that are on non-dry goods exclusives are, I don't know. But this is definitely the one I want. Wow, that's really nice. They did a good job on these. Black paper, ooh, non-polyline sleeves. That's a no-no. Gonna have to swap those out. Come on, Phish, you need to put these in polyline sleeves. It's so weird how these bands, like, sometimes they have polyline sleeves, sometimes they don't. No, okay. I thought there was gonna be like no book in here, which would be a little bit disappointing, but there is a book here. This is on Jemp Records. Jemp Records is Phish's label. Phish has been on a couple of different labels. They were originally on Go Records for their second album, which they went back and re-released their first album. And then they got onto Elektra. They were on Elektra for a long time, and then they were on their own label, Jemp. Jemp is a acronym for John, which is John Fishman, the drummer, Ernesto Giuseppe Anastasio the third. That's why they call him Trey, because he's the third. J-E-M is Michael Gordon, the bass player, Mike Gordon. J-E-M-P, Paige McConnell is their piano player. So their label is called Jemp Records. It says Jemp down here, if it can come into focus. And also ATO Records. I'm not really sure about ATO Records. I know that some of Trey Band records have been on ATO Records. I'm not really sure what ATO is, but it's got to be a partner company of Jemp. So again, we have the big suspended block. It's just one page, it looks like, and it's got all the song lyrics on a sort of bluish, brownish, pretty heavy card paper. And it's got, here are band members, Trey, John, Mike, and Paige. Produced by Bryce Goggin and Vance Powell. Recorded by Vance, Bryce, and Michael Fahey. Technical assistance by a long list of technical assistants. Recorded at the barn, as we suspected. And additional recording in Nashville at Sputnik Sound, Reservoir Studios, The Bunker, Trout Recording in Brooklyn. There are some strings on this that were probably arranged by Don Hart, who is Trey's collaborator. Most of the songs are accredited to Trey Anastasio and his writing partner, Tom Marshall, his lyricist, the kind of honorary Phish member, Tom Marshall. Vocal production and arrangement by Rab Stevenson. String arrangements by Don Hart. It lists the songs that there are strings on. Additional musicians are Don Hart as the conductor, David Davidson on violin and section leader, David Angel on violin, Monisa Angel on viola, Sinead Chang on viola, Wei Tsung Chang on violin, Janet Darnell on violin, I gotta read them all now, Noah Denny on percussion, Una Gong on cello, Paul Nelson cello, Carol Rabinowitz on cello, and Sari Riest on cello, and Karen Winkleman on violin. Sorry if I got your names wrong. Cover painting. Okay, the cover of the record, once more, is called An Exploration of Gravity. Exploration of Gravity. You can see it a little bit better with the shrink wrap off. And the inside painting is called Shared Future. Phish has featured some amazing artists on their album covers, most famously Jim Pollock, who is kind of the defunct Phish artist, but they've also featured a ton of interesting artists that they really like. I encourage you to check out their album covers. They're all by interesting artists, and I've dug into the history of some of the artists behind the covers, and they're all really interesting. Again, this is by Mehdi Gadyanlu, and the art direction and package design by Julia Mordaunt, who has been with Phish for a really long time and who is responsible for so much of their design production, I think. Project management by Richard Glasgow and Beth Montori-Rawls, management and so on, Phish Inc., etc., etc. All songs published by Who Is She Music, which I think is Trey and Tom's publishing company. One other published by Seven Below, which I think is Mike Gordon's publishing company. So I said most of the songs were written by Trey and Tom, but it seems that some of them are just written by Trey, some of them are written by Tom and Trey, some of them are written by Trey and Paige. A standout track is written by Mike Gordon and Jeff Morowski, his partner in the Mike Gordon band. Yeah, it looks like there's a limited amount of songs by other members other than Trey, but Mike's contribution is really cool. So that's it. Evolve, their 16th studio album. It's got a nice little embossed glossy here on the Evolve. You can see it. And it's a really great record. Hey Stranger is an interesting opening track. It kind of sounds like it should be a second track. It's kind of a minor, darker, Hey Stranger. It's kind of got a spooky vibe to it. Oblivion is also a cool track. Evolve is the title track, the standout one. They've been playing it on Tiny Desk and Jimmy Fallon. A Wave of Hope is probably a fan favorite. It's a big, soaring anthem of a song. Pillow Jets is a really weird tune, really beautiful. It's got a little bit of theme from the bottom, if you happen to know their album Billy Breathes. And Lonely Trip, what a great ballad that Trey has sung before on one of his solo records called Lonely Trip, I think. Then Side C is Life Saving Gun, which they just opened with not long ago on one of their summer tour shows. I really dig this song. Life Saving Gun is just a heavy duty rocker, really cool song, and the whole concept of like a life saving gun. This one is written by Trey and Paige. Monsters is a little masterpiece of a sort of haunting ballad. Ether Edge, I kind of have to remember it. I think that's another vehicle for jam. And Human Nature is a really funky, weird, it's the funky tune on the record, the Mike Gordon song. Sounds very much like Mike Gordon. It's got this minor to major modulation at the verse and chorus, which is really fun, and it sounds kind of goofy and off-kilter. Very much tracks with Mike Gordon's off-kilter personality. And then Valdez was the song I was sort of least familiar with when this album came out. Valdez has got a little bit of Gamehenge-y sound to it. Gamehenge is their epic fantasy rock opera, sort of Alice in Wonderland. Valdez has got a little bit of a story to it, a sort of fantasy story. Then The Well is kind of a heavy track. It's got a little bit of darkness in it. I gotta go listen to The Well again. And then Mercy closes the record. And oh my God, Mercy was on another Trey solo record. There's a distilled version of Mercy. But what a great way to end this album. It's a beautiful confessional song that really just sends you off with a prayer bell of a tone. Very cool way to end this record. I don't know if I love the tracking on it. I may have decided to rearrange the song list in a slightly different order, but you know, I'm sure I'll grow to love it. Finally, I'll say that I think this album is really appropriately named Evolve, because Phish has evolved so many times and in so many ways over the decades, and yet they've always stayed true to themselves and true to their roots and true to their sound. And if you know this band, you know that they're so capable of playing everything and anything, and yet they always play it in their way, even though the band really has gone all over the place musically. They have stayed true to their fans and stayed true to their sound, and yet they've come into a new chapter, I think, in their sort of later years. They're playing with a maturity and a deliberateness and a abandon that isn't the same recklessness that was present in the late 80s and early 90s and late 90s too. But they're still rocking really hard, and they're in their newest element, which we're calling 4.0, Phish 4.0, which I'm going to talk about with my pal in the upcoming days. We're going to review this album, and we're going to review the third chapter of our little Phish primer, so I encourage you to check that out on the YouTube channel. Thank you, Phish, for this great new record. I am super stoked. I am so happy. It's Phishmas here. Happy Phishmas to us all. I got a new Phish record, and I'm very, very happy. Today is like a wonderful day. So I am gonna go put these records on and enjoy this beautiful artwork and read along with the lyrics and maybe dive into everything that I can learn about this album and put out some evolution, good evolution intentions as I listen to it. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that unboxing of Phish's Evolve. Until next time, I'll see you at the record store. Bye.